What's up, guys? What's going on? How's everyone doing tonight? Um, Look, I'm not a political person. I'm not going to get into politics, but over the course of probably this month, I've seen a lot of people take different political angles, and I'm not about to talk about Trump or any of that stuff or who could run for president potentially or just none of that. That's not where I'm getting at. I'm just saying, as a society, or let me just say this first. I've just noticed a lot of people commenting and saying different things like they want us to be divided and they want us to get caught up on petty little things. And that's where the distraction comes in. And it, it keeps us divided. And I'm not about to get, again, I'm not targeting anything. I'm not talking about red, blue, or none of that stuff. But I will say, and I think I do agree, I agree with this, and I think I can see through the bullshit here, that there is a big distraction going on here, I believe. And I believe that if enough people, I don't think it would ever happen, but I think that if enough people came together, things could drastically change. But it would have to be like worldwide, global shit. And even if it's not different countries, because that would make sense, but in the United States. But if everybody in the United States, let's just say the majority of the United States came together and they targeted, or not targeted, but stood their ground on maybe, I don't know, lowering taxes, doing this, doing that, and not standing for it. It could be even like health insurance or something like that. But if enough people came together and were like, we're not doing this anymore. We're not paying this amount of money. We're not doing this. We're just not doing it. And things need to change. Then it would. But until that happens, it's not gonna change. So that's all I'm getting at, because I've seen a number of people like talk about this, and I think it's great to talk about this sort of thing. But I mean, it goes further than that. Why tax? It goes further than that. There's a lot of like, messed up things going on. Health insurance, uh, like you work, right? So your taxes you should be able to, I know it sounds crazy, but the way I'm going to put this, but you break your arm or something or whatever, and little Timmy is able to go to the hospital and not have an issue. Uh, and not to mention that not all jobs offer health insurance. So it stems from a lot of things. It's not just taxes in general, but yeah, I'm trying to say this in a way where I don't really get deep into this, but I want to touch on these types of things. I'm not picking sides. I'm not saying, you know, it's a tough thing to talk about. It's not tough because I'm not worried about saying certain things or scared about saying certain things, but the internet has a way of, when it's great, it's good. But if you say the wrong thing, it can get taken out of context so easily. And then you're the enemy. So that's why I'm trying to say this in a way that everybody understands. It's not hard to understand, but the current system and like how things are going, I'm not getting into detail. I'll just say, I kept it at a level surface by saying taxes. Um, But if, we kept it, or not kept it, but that's what I'm saying. But without getting too much into detail, if we all came together, which is never going to happen, like it's great when portions of people come together and they, what's the word right now? Protest or whatever. But it's just not enough people. It's not enough. It's not enough of a movement. And I know for a fact, and I think anybody can figure this out. It's not rocket science, that if enough people came together, real change would happen. It absolutely would. And I think it would highlight some things that really, like, there's some areas that really need fixing. And I think that would, that would be the ultimate way to get that point across and to make change. But it's a shame when or you have a good idea as to what would work, you know, but everybody is so distracted by other stuff that maybe not everybody. I can't say everybody because I'm not one of those people. I see through it, and I'm not, when I say this again, like, I'm not trying to be like a conspiracist, like a conspiracist or anything like that. Not that this is like conspiracy, but like somebody could take it that way, I guess. And with the whole like wake up and be woke thing, it's just a matter of just knowing what the issue is, and I guess just I don't know, being a content creator and just knowing marketing and things like that. It's the same thing here, but just in a different way, if that makes sense. It's like they're marketing they're marketing to a certain people, and then it's a domino effect, and then people go, yeah, 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 this works, and that, and then before you know it, nobody really wants to talk about the elephant in the room, but they kind of just want to, and I don't say everybody, but they just go, okay, I'll settle for this. And then if somebody has a different opinion, I'll attack them, or will destroy them, or tear them to shreds. And again, not everybody, but majority of that type of thing happens. And it's just like, man, again, it's hard to like talk about this without diving so deep, but I would just say that I'm very aware of it, and I really feel that it's just the worst. It's honestly, it's really kind of the worst it's been in a lot of ways financially. And I'm not going to comment on the president or anything like that, but I think you have to agree that prices prices are really bad. Just the whole bracket, the whole system is just, you need a new one. Just throw it out and do something else. It's just not working, and it's been not working. And just seeing it the way that it is, and I'll say this much: I'm a very independent person, and having your independence, at least for me, is like very important. But man, like, I don't know, guys. This just, it feels different. Like, yeah, you always got to look after yourself. You do. That's, at the end of the day, you got to be selfish to a degree. You have to look at yourself because you're the one that has to go far in life, right? You need to do all the things that you need to do to get what you need to get to, and done, and all that kind of stuff. But it feels different. It feels a lot more brutal. Like, it feels like now, like it feels like it used to have people, right, that would look after you. Some people to a degree, whether you're friends, whatever, but you just felt like you had that sort of comfort in ways, but it feels like that's completely stripped away now. It feels like, I don't know how to explain it or put it into words. Like I said, everybody knows that at a certain age, you get to a certain age and you think to yourself, okay, this is how life really is. And not to be like negative or anything, because there's a lot of beautiful things to life. And if you're just looking at these types of things, you're never going to find the beauty in life. So you have to escape this sort of thing and find hobbies and find different things to look at. And that is part of a distraction, but it's a healthy distraction, right? Not fighting online with people and starting arguments and going after the wrong people because they're not the enemy. But it just feels different in a way. Like, it feels like before, like I said, you had your independence, and you always had that independence. If you did, like, that you have to look after yourself, but now it just feels way more intense, if that makes sense. Like it just feels like, and maybe it's a thing where it's not really like that, but it just feels like it. And it just feels like you don't have anybody that really gives a shit about you. And it's a weird thing to say because people clearly do, but it's this feeling of that. And I think it's the bigger picture, right? It's really just the bigger picture of it. But that's just one of the things. But really, the system is just shit. It is. And I'm really not trying to like, I'm not trying to comment on, I know this has gotten political to a degree because there's no way to talk about this without being political to some degree. It's just not an option. But I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to get deeper than this, but I think we all can understand that that it's a weird time. It's weird. It's very just the system. The system is just not working. It's clearly not working. Nobody really is, the average working person isn't benefiting. They're suffering financially. And how much worse can it get to where you're just like living in a box, like, I mean, being homeless or something. And I think that's why a lot of people are going off the radar, because it's just easier to live in a camper or a car or something and give up your apartment or a house or whatever, because like, or even buying a house it used to be something that you could, I want to say easily accomplish, but it used to be something that wasn't far out of reach. And now it's like, if you don't live with somebody or multiple people, the likelihood of like just buying a house, unless you have like a really good job or something like that, like, I mean, like a great job. I mean, to put things in perspective, $150,000 salary is like, you're living, but that's kind of like a normal life. That's not really like a life where it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money at the end of the day, but you have to understand, like, especially in the city, like certain places, maybe way down south, it's different. The housing, I know the housing market is different in different areas, but where I live, it's super expensive. Just owning a car and car insurance alone can be anywhere to like $500-$600. And then if you have a car note, and then on top of that, what, gas, water, electric, your rent, mortgage, all of those things. I mean, just owning a house in general. I mean, it used to be a thing where you had a little bit of money, 50 grand, maybe 75 grand, you could buy a house. And it's just like, that is almost like unheard of now. Maybe like an apartment. That's why so many people live in apartments. That's why so many people live in condos and apartments. That right there, that just goes to show you that it's like it's like literally like showing records of, I don't know what exactly the percentage is, but I know that it's like a record amount of people that are moving into apartments because they just can't afford a house. I'm talking about married couples, people that are financially secure. It's still really rough. I don't know. All right, this isn't something I normally talk about, but if you're new here, you're new to my channel, I'm typically somebody that tells stories and goes on adventures, whatever, explores, kind of all wrapped up into one. But I felt compelled to talk about this because I've seen a lot of people comment on this lately. I mean, really, in the past 2 years, I've seen a lot of people talk about this, but it's just gotten to a boiling point now to where, like, it's even hard for me to keep quiet about it. And I'm not somebody that wants to interject my opinion when it comes to politics, because the way that I look at it, things that I steer clear of online are talking about religion and politics. I feel like nothing good comes from it. And that isn't to say that not everybody can talk about it, but there's certain people that can't debate in a healthy way or agree to disagree and just have a healthy opinion about it. That's all that I'm saying. So you have people that are mature and immature, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. And I don't even blame certain people for their immaturity, or maybe they're not well versed in knowing something or whatever. And this is all kind of like hypothetically speaking, because like, yes, I know that these people out there exist, but hypothetic in a way where I'm not calling anybody out. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just saying that you know that these types of people exist. You see it firsthand. And I have no even hatred or dislike for people that, even if they're ignorant, if somebody can, let's just say this right now, whether it's over politics, religion, or just somebody that comes up to me and sees me, they know that I'm a content creator, or for whatever reason they point me out, or it doesn't even have to be that. Like, let's just say somebody's walking down the street right now, they notice me, and for whatever reason they look at me, we meet eyes, and they don't like the way that I looked at them, even though I wasn't doing anything, but they felt a certain way, or they felt a certain way, like if they felt compelled to say something to me, like, I don't like you for whatever reason. Let's just say somebody ignorant came down the street and was just like, I don't like you, right? The type of guy that I am, I may ask why, right? Why is that? But I'm not gonna pry. I'm not the type of like, yes, I'm thoroughly interested in like finding things out and knowing things, but at the same time, I know when to mind my own business, and it's no chip off my shoulder. Like, if somebody says something mean to me, like, I just pass it off and I don't let it get to me. I really don't. Because what's the point in doing that? And then also, it's like the way that I handle it. It's like, I don't want to start a war or animosity. It's not worth it to me. So if somebody was to say, I hate you, I don't like you, blah, 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 I'm more of the person that's just like, I hope that they find happiness, because it could be happening for a number of reasons. Maybe they're unhappy with their own life. You don't know. So I'm not just gonna automatically write you off and be like, oh, I don't like that person because they don't like me. That's just not the kind of guy that I am. If you want to sit down and have a talk with me, and you want to get to know me, or I don't know, if you don't want to judge me and you actually want to talk to me and get to know me, that's cool. I will do that, even for somebody that comes up to me and says, I hate you. I will do that, because I'm just not the type of person to be like, I'm gonna write you off, or you have a different opinion, and because of that, I don't like you, or whatever. Like, you could be the most extreme opposite person of me, and I'm not gonna not dislike. Like, I'm not gonna dislike you because of that. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot for me to get to a position to where I feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk or associate with this person. It's probably not a good idea. Just let it go, let it be, let it ride. And also, I feel like it's just healthy. It's like a healthy mentality to have. Just kind of letting people not get to you, because I mean, shit, if you did that and then look at everything else, it's like, it's it's just as easy pointing things out than to not point things out. And although, ironically, I'm pointing things out here in this live, um, this it's different in this way, in this matter. I'm just talking as an example. But yeah, it's just as easy to look the other way than it is to entertain and give in to what people want. And that kind of brings back full circle to what I'm talking about now. Giving in to, because a lot of times I feel like that the society and the way that things are made out to be now is that they want us to turn on each other. And what better way to be to not turn on each other and do the opposite of that? Come together. We should be coming together right now. And again, I'm not a political person. So for me to say this, it's a big deal. Not saying I'm a big deal, just saying it's a big deal because I don't usually preach or talk about these sort of things like this. I just don't. Not with the whole political thing. But I do think it's very important that we all come together, and I would love for that to happen. And I don't want to sound negative, but I think that's really what the impossible part is. There's just not enough people that are on board to do so, because there's too many people that are against one another. And it's like, why at the end of the day? But again, goes back to what I'm saying. Some people come off ignorantly, and sometimes it's like talking to a brick wall. They don't really see what's happening or what's going on. Their mind is made up and they're stuck in their ways. And, ultimately you can't always blame that person. But yeah, it's just something that I wanted to talk about. So don't take me as a political guy here at all. Obviously, if I was, I would be talking about some. I mean, it is, it is hard to ignore, but I'm not going to get deeper than this. So I've kind of kept it at that level, and you guys understand what I'm saying here. But yeah, I mean, you could only hope, and that it would be amazing to see that happen. I know for me, there's no better feeling than having that refreshment, like that just refreshing feeling. And it's so simple. Like going to the grocery store or something, you're like shopping, and you hold the door open for somebody, and they say thank you, and it goes further than that. Like, or you're in the aisle shopping, like I was saying, and somebody just sparks up a conversation. They're talking out loud. Maybe they're thinking out loud at first, and then it kind of sparks into a conversation. And for a while there, it felt like you didn't see a lot of that happening. And so when that does happen, I'm such a sociable person anyway, that I'm very inviting to have a conversation. I love conversating with strangers and just people, and just hearing what people have to say, and I'm all for it. So whenever I have that interaction with somebody, it's refreshing to be on the street, not have, I know I'm on the phone right now, but like the other day, I was doing some photography on the street. I was taking some shots for some thumbnails, and doing a little bit of video work. And this guy walked by me, and he commented on what I was doing. He asked if I was a videographer, photographer, whatever. But he was just a nice human being, very respectful, very approachable, just very, I mean, he approached me, but he was very talkative, and, you could really tell that I could tell that he was invested in every word that I was saying. And, it's refreshing to see that. I don't know. I know I'm kind of going on to other things, but, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off here. Have a good night.